What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for another episode of the weekly handheld gaming news. We had last week off with the 4th of July and there wasn't a lot to go over, so anything left over I'll throw in this week. We got a few things to hit on here, some stuff for LossLess Scaling, the MSI Claw, a couple of good sales, some Switch stuff, and some new games for GeForce Now. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, the first thing on our list is something I just thought was kind of cool. ASUS ROG Ally gets a major battery boost with 90 watt-hour upgrade from ROG Strix G15. So basically, YouTuber Minor Tech Tips had done some more work to the 2023 Ally, and he managed to get his laptop 90 watt-hour battery into this thing. He was also able to upgrade the SSD to the full 2280 here. And after this upgrade, the console's weight increased from 670 grams to 813, a minor difference when considering that the upcoming ASUS ROG Ally Xbox is expected to weigh about 715 grams. The new battery allows for extended gaming sessions without worrying about battery life. With the original 40 watt-hour battery, the console could run AAA games for approximately 1 to 1.5 hours. I've burned it quicker than an hour before, honestly. With the TDP of 15 to 20 watts, the upgraded 90 watt-hour battery triples the minimum playtime to 3 hours and extends the maximum to 4 hours. So you can see here, obviously some printed 3D printed back plate stuff. Need a lot of extra room. We got some vents up here for the cooling. You can kind of see the battery in there. But anyways, I just thought this was kind of cool to take a look at. And I know some of you guys get really into some of these mods and stuff like that, and if you want to check that out, you can. But I thought that was a cool one to start off the week. Now, next up is one for lossless scaling, and something we've been asking for when it comes to this software is coming over to Linux. Now, the last I heard, I thought the dev was working on bringing lossless over to Linux at some point, but maybe I'm wrong there. But the community's obviously been working on this, trying to get the frame generation part working, and at least going here for SteamOS and Linux, and specifically like the Steam Deck. So this has been kind of interesting. The install is a bit of work. It's using an older version of lossless, and I'm kind of keeping an eye on it and waiting until it's a little bit easier to install and get working. It seems hit or miss with games and things like that. There's already a few videos out there for it. It's something I'll definitely cover here in the future, and we'll try it on SteamOS on some of the more powerful devices, and we'll try it on the Steam Deck as well. But again, it's kind of a chore right now to get installed and working properly, and it's kind of hit and miss on its performance, and now it's working with games. So it's something that's really cool, and I'm glad to see this is happening, and hopefully the dev will also maybe get an official version over himself for this. But yeah, lossless coming to Linux would be a really welcome thing to see. Now, if you've been waiting on the AyaNeo Flip 1S DS, which I've covered a couple of times here as far as information about that, this is the upcoming HX370 AA9 coming up, and it looks like it's going to debut at about $1299, about $1,300 here, which is about what we expected. All of the HX370 and type chip devices have been pretty expensive, and of course this also has the clamshell design from AyaNeo and the 2 screens and all of that happening here. It's got a nice bump up in resolution from the older model and all of that as well. This is specifically only of being launched through crowdfunding for the Flip 1S DS, so that's something to look into here. But it's something I wanted to mention this week for those of you that might be interested in taking a look at this. I had mentioned before, I'd really like to see some of the mainstream companies that we deal with here, like for MSI, ASUS, Lenovo, for someone to maybe take a little risk and make something like this maybe more affordable. And I think it would be pretty interesting. It kind of takes me back to my 2DS, 3DS kind of days, and DS and all of that. So yeah, anyway, this is coming out. If you're interested in it, you're going to want to check out the crowdfunding, and it is going to be a bit pricey, as all of the handhelds really are that have been coming out. All right, a couple of things for the upcoming MSI Claw A8 with the Ryzen Z2 Extreme. Now, I didn't cover this stuff last week too much, but I made individual videos. But last week on the 3rd, pre-orders pretty much started popping up over in China for this device and it being released. And we've even had some reviews start to come out since then as well. And it does look like it is going to be probably what we anticipate here in the States at that $899 to $999 range, but we'll have to wait and actually see what kind of announcement we get here for the States. But looking at the pricing they're dealing with there, it's probably the case. I made a whole dedicated video on this. If you want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description. But it does look like pre-orders are at least starting to roll out. We know that MSI has had some very rough launches. They don't really say much, they just kind of do it, and availability can be really hit and miss. It's still very hard to get a hold of the existing Claw A8 AI Plus, and that stuff. But yeah, it does look like these pre-orders are amping up and starting, and I'll definitely make a video when they're available, especially here in the States, and I'm going to want to be able to get my hands on one. So yeah, I'm definitely looking out for those pre-orders. But like I said, we've also had some performance come out. So the MSI Claw A8 with Ryzen Z2 Extreme has been tested in performance to rival for Lunar Lake. And basically what we found out with this, and this is another video I had made, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. But pretty much you can expect 10 to 30% performance increase over a Z1 Extreme, and either on par with or being beat by the current Intel Ultra. I think most of the time they're probably going to be very close. AMD does have a more mature platform, drivers, things like that work better than Intel, but they're getting there. But hardware-wise, the current MSI Claw A8 AI Plus with Intel is going to be competitive with the Z2 Extreme. And we had talked about this about 7 months ago when I got that device. It was handily beating the Z1 Extreme. And when we're looking at 10 to 30% increase in performance, then I already knew that the existing Intel Core Ultras would compete. So expect that. If you have a current MSI Claw A8 AI Plus, you may not really need to worry about switching over to this device unless you want to just go to the AMD platform. At lower wattage, though, this thing's very, very competitive, or beating, rather, the Z1 Extreme by a lot. So 11 FPS at the 12 watts. When you go 15, 17, 20, it starts to dip off more, and we see less performance gains with the Z2 Extreme versus Z1 Extreme. But that low TDP, it does really perform really well. And again, I talked about that a lot more, and I'll put a link in the description if you want to go check out the dedicated video for that. But yeah, we are starting to see performance results and reviews and things like that, and it is basically what we were expecting, where we're seeing that 10 to 30% in FPS over the Z1 Extreme. But I think the real story with this chip will be the efficiency gains that they're getting out of this one. Maybe we'll see more high-end performance gains when we get more toward the next generation of whatever they do here with the Z Extremes or the Z series. But yeah, for now it seems like efficiency might be more the story for this chip. So we've got a couple of sales happening. I'm not sure how much longer these are on, but I did want to mention them because they're really good. Now, I've seen these over on some other websites as well and on Amazon, so make sure you kind of shop around. But just for example, over on Best Buy this week, they've got the original Legion Go with a 1TB SSD, the Z1 Extreme, for $549.99. That's $200 off its original $750 price. So if you've been looking to grab you a Z1 Extreme or grab up a Legion Go, this is probably one of the better deals that I've seen. Now, if we jump over, they've also got a sale happening here for their Z2 Go Windows, their white edition, 32GB, 1TB SSD here for $499, which is $230 off, which definitely makes it easier to swallow. I reviewed this device back in February and was pretty unhappy with its performance. 32GB of RAM is nice, but when you're talking about a chip like the Z2 Go and running on Windows, it just wasn't a great experience for me. You could certainly buy this and put SteamOS on it or do anything else, but it is a really good deal right now. $499, I think it makes the price to performance a lot more worth it. Definitely more in line with something that would make sense here. So yeah, big discount on the Legion Go S there, and a nice discount here on the Legion Go. All right, and a little bit of news for the Nintendo Switch 2 that we'll go through quickly. Last week, something that we missed because we didn't have a video last week, Nintendo has now sold over 5 million Nintendo Switch 2 consoles worldwide. And this is something that I pretty much expected. We saw over that 3 million mark when it came to the launch weekend, and now we're looking at 5 million or more than 5 million sold. And I would expect by this holiday they're going to do just fine with all their quotas and numbers that they're expecting. And I think by next March they were trying to aim for about 20 million units sold, up from the original 14 or 15 million. So I would say they're pretty much on pace to do that. And in their first month, they've already well outsold any PC handheld that's happening out there. But that's to be expected. It is Nintendo, big fan base, and even for me, I always have my Nintendo consoles to play Nintendo games. That's just something that I really enjoy, and especially with the family and everything like that. And I grew up with it. But of course, my PC handhelds, my Xbox stuff, all of my desktop PC stuff is what I get into more. But I love having my Nintendo console for Nintendo games. I think the Switch 2, even with its flaws and cost and things like that, I really have been enjoying it. I think it's pretty good, and I think they're not going to have any problem selling these things the way that they want to, and they're going to have a lot of great games coming out. I'm looking forward to Donkey Kong Bonanza next week. We had issues with the D brand kill switch case that was causing controllers to just kind of fall off of the Nintendo Switch 2. Interesting enough, my D brand case just got here today. I haven't opened it yet, and I don't know if they've redesigned it or made any changes yet, but mine was on hold for quite a while, and it finally shipped out a few days ago and got here today. So I'm going to be checking that out, but apparently they're saying that they've gone through and were able to fix the issue that was causing that to happen. And basically it was a lip on the controller that would kind of stick up too far, and when you would clip them on, it would create this fulcrum, this pry point that would allow them to more pry off or push off of the magnet, so they would fall off. So it looks like they've been responding to that, and it looks like they have the fix, and they are supposed to be offering new grips to people, replacement grips who got the originals that are having problems. Also, no big surprise, Donkey Kong Bonanza wasn't originally a Switch 2 game. The Switch 2 exclusive has something in common with Mario Kart World and Pokemon Legends Z. So yeah, these were originally going to be Switch 1 games. Now, the only difference with Pokemon Legends ZA is I believe there is going to be an original Switch version for that. But when it comes to Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World, there is no Switch 1 version. So a little different there. But yeah, it was probably something that we're trying to build on that system, just like Mario Kart World, and found out there were a lot of limitations holding them back. And with the increased power and capabilities of the Switch 2, we're able to do what they want with the game. I know it's one I'm really looking forward to. It could really be another system seller for Nintendo if it does really well, and it should keep us going till we get the next games coming out this year. I'm looking forward to Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends and all that. But yeah, not really surprising anytime especially when you're talking about the first year of any console from PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, you're gonna have these either crossovers or games that maybe started on one gen and then moved over. But anyways, guys, that'll wrap us up for this week. We got that interesting mod stuff going on for the Ally. LossLess Scaling seems to be making its way over to Linux. If you're interested in that AyaNeo Flip 1S DS, make sure you get in on the crowdfunding. I think it's fairly expensive, but I know some of you are going to be pretty interested in checking that out. A lot of things are happening when it comes to the MSI Claw A8 with AMD, of course, and we're keeping an eye out for the ROG device with Xbox and the Legion Go 2, because I think we'll be getting some information on that stuff soon, and pre-orders as well. We got some good deals on the Legion Go and Legion Go S Windows model, and some stuff for the Nintendo Switch. Looking good there for sales. Looking forward to Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I'm glad D-Brand's working on their kill switch case, because it's probably one of the better options out there. But anyways, guys, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. As always, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.